7-man squad list relieved by Coach Chris Hughton, and when you look at the squad that was released, huge misses. Fatau Isaku, Leicester City didn't make the squad. You have a player like Thomas Step. I think he was a big shocker. He was a big miss. He didn't make the squad. As well as Baba Abdurrahman, the left back. He plays for Payo in Greece. He didn't make the squad. Look at players that make the squad like Jonathan Soa of Mediama, Richmond Lamte, Kumasi Asante Kotoko. In the last few days, it was sensational for Kotoko. There were widespread agitation for him to be included in the squad. Finally, Chris Hughton added him to the squad. Hopefully, he gets game time to impress and also make a mark at the Afcon 2023. Some journalists share their opinions and assertions about the 27-man squad, and take a listen to them. Ghana Black Stars coach Chris Hughton just announced his 27-man squad that will be doing the honors for the Black Stars in Ivory Coast, and these are some assertions from colleague journalists of what they think of Chris Hughton's squad. What do you think of Chris Hughton's squad?
Well, again, it's full of surprises as expected, especially Thomas Partey not being in the squad, being told that he's injured. We all know he's injured, but we thought he would be able to make it to the squad, but it turns out that he's not there. Well, there are a few surprises as Fatau Isaku and Baba Rahman were not there, but we hope that this squad can be able to pull up some surprises at the Afcon. Remember the 2010 Afcon where we went to the finals and it was basically a team of underdogs, and we hope that this time we can be able to do it, except that we want to see the Black Stars play at the highest level. Juliet asked Chris Hughton whether he can be able to take the Black Stars performance, which has been lately lacking the touch of taking the game to the extra mile, and he said that hopefully we'll be able to do that to ensure that maybe we can score more goals. But I'm confident in the squad that probably we can be able to reach somewhere that is more pleasant than where we got last year.
Before you go, you made mention of Thomas Step. I think he's a big figure for the senior national team, the Black Stars, deputy captain of the side. How much of a mess will he be for Chris Hughton, judging from the fact that if he's in the side, he has some substantial amount of influence?
Well, he will be greatly missed in the team. Thomas Partey's influence is very huge, and for Arsenal themselves, now that he's not there, and look at their performance lately. So I think Thomas Partey will be missed, but it's also an opportunity for the likes of Majid Ashimeru and others to rise up to the occasion and show the world and in fact the continent what they are capable of doing.
Finally, the squad that has been put out, do you have any hopes of us performing at the Afcon?
Well, looking at the strikers, I hope that Coach Chris Hughton can make some changes. Let's say he shouldn't stick to Inaki Williams and Antoine Semenyo and Jonathan Soa as his main key strikers. When you look at the West Ham team, they can all play at different positions. Mohamed Kudus, you can take Paqueta, and also looking at the squad, Ernest Nyama can also come into attack. You can also bring Mohamed Kudus into attack, and also I don't expect Coach Chris Hughton to rely on these three strikers that he has named.
It's definitely a step in the right direction for, home-based players who play in the league to get a national team shot, because that's never common. Even if you double back to the old times where you had Charles Taylor and Ishmael Ado, a lot of those guys were literally superstars back in the day, but they barely ever sniffed the national team. And so for a guy like Richmond Lamte, making the national team is always a mark of motivation for another local player. The last tournaments I've had a free Barnier. I thought that Danlad Ibrahim as well. I thought that there were quite a number of candidates for that position. Lamte, Manaf is a good example. Arguably the best midfielder in the league this season. To see him not make that squad ahead of Lamte, I would say there isn't much of a difference between the two. Manaf definitely has a better eye for goal, I think, but I feel like the team has a lot of that. And so to include Lamte is, to me, the coach seeking a profile that is not too predominant in the squad. It's a sign of good things for the national team. I do hope that when we are presented with scenarios where his services are needed, he will not be kept on the bench, because that's been the theme of local players going to tournaments. They go to the competition and they never get to see actual game time. So for Lamptey, I think he's a good player. I think he can hold his own with these other guys. And so I hope that he gets a genuine opportunity.
What's your prediction for this side?
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell.
Quarterfinals?
It's hard to tell, honestly. The Ghana national team have been backsliding as far as the Afcon is concerned, tournament by tournament. I don't want to be a pessimist, but if you've seen the last couple of competitions and how they've ended, you can draw your own conclusions. I will not say it for you. I just think that we are better than what we show. Generally, that's how I feel. I am one of those people who reject the argument that we don't have good enough players to compete or to win an Afcon. Our players are as good as anybody on the continent. We just need to find a way to bring it all together. And so if we bring it all together, I think we could probably be one of those surprise packages this tournament. If we continue behaving like how we've been behaving in recent tournaments, I think that, like I said, we all know what's going to happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you have 27-man squad list released by Coach Chris Hughton, are you impressed?
I'm okay. I'm okay with the squad, and the fact that most of the players are players we've already seen in the national team. You know, our international friendlies and then the FIFA World Cup qualifiers. We've seen most of the players in the squad already, so I'm okay. And the fact that we have 3 local players also making to the final squad is good for me.
Talking about local content, Richmond Lamptey is sensational for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. In the past months, I mean, there were widespread calls for him to be included. Would you have been disappointed if he didn't make the squad?
Yes, I would have been disappointed. I remember yesterday I wrote it on Twitter, X, that I would be surprised if I do not see Richmond Lamptey's name in the final squad. And I'm glad that he made it. You know, he's that player that you could count on. And I love the fact that he could passes the ball to the forwards, and we've seen him doing it at Asante Kotoko. And if you have looked at our national team, one thing we are really lacking is that penetrative player, a player who could pass the ball to the forwards. That is what we are lacking now. And if you have Richmond Lamptey, if you have Ashmiro who could do this for you, then I think it's a plus for the national team. And I'm super happy that he made it to the final squad.
Talking about midfielders, Thomas Partey, huge blow. He missed out on the final 27-man squad.
It's a blow. He's a top quality player, and we've seen his impact for the national team. Not to talk about the game against Nigeria, you know, he played a very vital role for the national team so that we qualified for the FIFA World Cup, and this time around he won't join us. But I think we also have other players who have been playing in his absence, and this is the time they have to play so well and then deliver for the national team, even though it's a big blow for us. But I think we have other players who could step in and play so well for the national team.
Let me ask you about this squad. I mean, do you think we have the quality, the depth in quality to win as against countries like Algeria, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Egypt?
On paper, you will say no, because if you compare our team to the likes of Stephen Appiah, Michael Essien, and Sulali Montari, Asamoah and Co., you could clearly see that it's a bit far from what we have now. But then this is football, and we believe that if we have a target and the boys are going to play like we are expecting, they are going to pull up a surprise. But it's going to be a difficult one, of course, but I believe that we are Ghana and we can do our best. But for lifting the trophy is going to be a bit problematic, but we can pull a surprise.
Let me ask you about our berth. Quarterfinals, semi-finals?
Quarterfinal will be okay.
Quarterfinals will be okay. Thank you. These are some of the sessions by colleague journalists on what they make of the 27-man squad that was released by Coach Chris Hughton and his technical team. Hopefully, we at Sahara Football are hopeful that the squad will be able to turn out the version of the coach on the field and make the best out of it. 42 years, Ghana has been unable to win the Afcon trophy. Maybe playing in neighboring Ivory Coast would do us the lucky honors in delivering the good for us. So my name is Raphael Banaman Korte. We came to you live from Alisa Hotels in Accra.